The silent countdown. The bridge of the UES Defiant hummed with tension as Captain Elara Hayes stood tall, her weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays. 20 years of service in the United Earth Fleet had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being screamed danger. The ship, a marvel of human engineering, represented the pinnacle of Earth's technological achievement. A sleek dreadnought equipped with weaponry that would have been considered science fiction just a decade ago. Captain, long-range sensors are detecting unusual gravitational distortions in the Procyon system, Lieutenant Risa Chen announced, his fingers dancing across the sensor array. His dark eyes narrowed as he analyzed the incoming data. The patterns don't match any known natural phenomena. Hayes moved to his station, studying the readouts with a critical eye. Cloaked vessels. Possibly, Chen replied. If so, we're looking at a fleet. A large one. The captain's jaw tightened. Humanity had only recently ventured into this sector of space, hoping to establish peaceful relations with the neighboring star systems. Intelligence reports had indicated the region was controlled by a species known as the Voidborn, a highly advanced civilization with technology that supposedly surpassed Earth's by centuries. Alert Admiral Thornton. I want the entire Fifth Fleet on standby, Hayes ordered, her voice calm despite the adrenaline now coursing through her veins. And get me a direct communication link with the Voidborn Alliance. It's time we introduced ourselves properly. Within hours, the command staff of the Defiant found themselves face-to-face with Ambassador Xorix of the Voidborn Alliance, a tall, slender being with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each movement. The ambassador's multifaceted eyes regarded the humans with what Hayes interpreted as curiosity. Captain Hayes, we welcome humans to this sector. Xorix's voice resonated through the ship's communication system, automatically translated by the ship's eye. We have observed your species' rapid technological advancement with great interest. Ambassador, our sensors have detected what appears to be a significant military presence in the Procyon system. Hayes replied directly, eschewing diplomatic pleasantries. As we haven't formally established relations yet, I'm curious about the purpose of such a gathering. The alien's skin rippled, briefly shifting to a deep purple before returning to its previous hue. Merely a standard patrol, Captain. The borders of our territory require constant vigilance against less civilized species. Hayes nodded politely, but the slight delay in the ambassador's response hadn't gone unnoticed. She played enough poker in her academy days to recognize a tell when she saw one. As the communication ended, Commander Aisha Okafor, the ship's tactical officer, approached Hayes with a datapad. Captain, I've analyzed the sensor data alongside known Voidborn fleet movement patterns. This isn't a patrol, it's a battle formation. An ambush, Hayes concluded grimly. They're positioning themselves to trap our expedition fleet when it arrives. The revelation spread through the command crew like a chill. Humanity had encountered hostile species before, but never one that had attempted such elaborate deception. The Voidborn clearly viewed humans as a threat, or perhaps an opportunity. Commander Okafor's dark eyes flashed with determination. They don't know we've spotted them. We have the element of surprise. And something else, Hayes added, turning to Chief Engineer Malcolm Torres. Is the quantum cascade system operational? Torres, a burly man with calloused hands and a perpetual smudge of grease on his forehead, grinned. Just completed final calibrations yesterday, Captain. It's untested in actual combat, but the simulations are promising. The quantum cascade was Earth's newest weapons technology, a system that could simultaneously target and disrupt the quantum fields of multiple enemy vessels, effectively rendering their shields and propulsion systems inoperative in microseconds. Theoretical, experimental, and absolutely classified. Inform Admiral Thornton of our findings and request immediate reinforcements, Hayes ordered. In the meantime, we'll continue our diplomatic dance with the Voidborn. Let them think their trap is still hidden. Over the next 48 hours, the UES Defiant maintained its position at the edge of the Procyon system, engaging in seemingly productive diplomatic exchanges with Ambassador Xorix, while secretly gathering intelligence on the hidden Voidborn fleet. Meanwhile, Earth's Fifth Fleet assembled just outside sensor range, preparing for what would inevitably become humanity's first major interstellar conflict. In her private quarters, Hayes reviewed the battle plans one final time. The Voidborn had positioned their ships in a classic encirclement formation, a deadly web designed to collapse around the human expedition fleet the moment it arrived through the jump point. Their technology was indeed impressive, with energy signatures that dwarfed anything in Earth's arsenal. But what the Voidborn didn't account for was humanity's greatest strength: adaptability. They expect us to follow standard first contact protocols, Hayes explained to her assembled command staff. To arrive with minimal defensive capabilities activated as a show of peaceful intentions. Lieutenant Chen nodded. And instead, we'll be arriving with the full might of the Fifth Fleet, weapons hot. Precisely, Hayes confirmed. But more importantly, we'll be deploying the quantum cascade system the moment their trap is sprung. If Dr. Torres's calculations are correct, we'll have a window of approximately 90 seconds where their entire fleet will be vulnerable. Commander Okafor leaned forward, her tactical mind already formulating approaches. That's all the time we'll need. As the hours counted down to the planned diplomatic fleet arrival, Hayes felt the weight of humanity's future resting on her shoulders. First contacts were always pivotal moments in history, but this one would set the tone for Earth's position in the galactic community for generations to come. The Voidborn had clearly underestimated humans, a mistake many had made throughout Earth's bloody history. They saw a young species taking its first tentative steps into the cosmic ocean and mistook technological youth for weakness. But humanity hadn't clawed its way from the mud to the stars by being weak. In her final communication with Ambassador Xorix, before the arrival of the diplomatic fleet, Hayes maintained the charade of ignorance. We look forward to establishing formal relations with the Voidborn Alliance, Ambassador. Our representatives carry messages of peace and cooperation from Earth. We anticipate their arrival with great excitement, Captain Hayes. Torix replied, the alien skin now pulsing with a faint golden light. This meeting will indeed be historic. On that point, at least they were in perfect agreement. As the communication ended, Hayes turned to her bridge crew, her expression hardening into resolute determination. Battle stations. Inform Admiral Thornton we are go for Operation Thunderclap. Throughout the Defiant, crew members moved with practiced efficiency, securing systems and preparing for combat. In the engine room, Dr. Torres personally supervised the activation of the quantum cascade system, his team triple-checking every connection and power coupling. Status report, Hayes commanded as she took her place in the captain's chair. Fifth Fleet is in position, weapons hot. Commander Okafor confirmed. All ships reporting ready. Quantum cascade at 98% capacity. Lieutenant Chen added. Targeting systems locked on all identified Voidborn vessels. Hayes took a deep breath, feeling the familiar calm of pre-battle clarity settling over her. The Voidborn thought they were springing a trap on an unsuspecting prey. Instead, they were about to learn a fundamental truth about humans, a truth written in the blood and fire of countless battlefields across Earth's violent history. Humans don't just survive traps. They turn them against their creators. Send the signal, Hayes ordered. Let's show the Voidborn exactly what they're dealing with. Throughout the bridge, the crew braced themselves for what was coming. In the tense silence, Lieutenant Chen softly muttered what many were thinking. They have no idea what they've just started. Thundering vengeance. The vast emptiness of space around the Procyon jump point erupted with activity as the UES Defiant and the Fifth Fleet dropped their stealth fields simultaneously. Admiral Thornton's flagship, the massive dreadnought Excalibur, led the formation, a spearhead of human military might pointed directly at the heart of the Voidborn ambush. Aboard the Defiant, Captain Hayes watched as the enemy fleet reacted to their unexpected appearance. The hidden Voidborn vessels decloaked rapidly, their sleek, crystalline ships glittering like deadly jewels against the blackness of space. There were hundreds of them, arranged in concentric rings, a beautiful and lethal formation designed to trap and destroy. Their powering weapons, Lieutenant Chen reported, his voice steady despite the tension. Energy signatures indicate their main batteries are charging. Ambassador Xorix's face appeared on the main view screen, the alien skin now pulsing an angry crimson. Captain Hayes, this is most irregular. Your arrival with a military fleet violates our diplomatic agreements. Hayes allowed herself a small, cold smile. What diplomatic agreements would those be, Ambassador? The ones where you plan to ambush and destroy our expedition fleet. We detected your trap days ago. The ambassador's multifaceted eyes widened slightly, the only indication of surprise, a regrettable misunderstanding. Our forces are merely. Save it, Hayes interrupted. Your fleet is in attack formation. Your weapons are charged. Let's not insult each other's intelligence. For a moment, silence hung between them. Then the ambassador's demeanor changed, the diplomatic veneer falling away to reveal something harder, more predatory. Humans truly are as clever as our intelligence suggested, Katorix admitted, voice dropping to a lower register. It makes you dangerous. Too dangerous to be allowed to expand further into the galaxy. Your species advances too quickly, adapts too readily. The Voidborn Conclave has determined you must be contained or eliminated. Hayes nodded, as if the ambassador had simply commented on the weather. I suspected as much. Unfortunately for you, humans don't take kindly to being contained. Without warning, the Voidborn fleet began to move, their formation tightening like a noose. Weapon ports glowed with building energy as they prepared to unleash devastation upon the human vessels. They're firing, Chen called out. Hayes leaned forward in her chair. Execute Operation Thunderclap. Now. Commander Okafor's fingers flew across her tactical console, transmitting the predetermined command sequence to the entire Fifth Fleet. In the engineering section, Dr. Torres activated the quantum cascade system, channeling unprecedented amounts of energy through the experimental device. For a brief moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a ripple across a still pond, a wave of quantum disruption spread outward from the human fleet, washing over the Voidborn vessels. Ship after ship suddenly went dark, their weapons powering down, shields failing, and propulsion systems stalling. The deadly barrage they had prepared died before it could be launched. Quantum cascade successful, Torres reported, his voice tight with excitement. 87% of enemy vessels affected. Disruption will hold for approximately 90 seconds before their systems can recalibrate. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega, Admiral Thornton's voice commanded over the fleet-wide channel. Target priority vessels first. What followed was not a battle but a slaughter. The human fleet moved with choreographed precision, their weapons finding unprotected targets with devastating efficiency. Voidborn ships, their quantum fields disrupted and their defenses non-existent, exploded in brilliant flashes of light and vaporized material. On the Defiance Bridge, Hayes watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. The Voidborn had sought to eliminate humanity as a potential threat, to snuff out Earth's presence in the galaxy before it could truly begin. Instead, they were receiving a harsh lesson about the species they had underestimated. Enemy vessels attempting to retreat, Chen reported as the quantum cascade's effects began to wear off. Some Voidborn ships, those at the outer edges of the formation that had been less affected by the disruption, were breaking away, attempting to flee the devastation. Admiral Thornton is requesting permission to pursue, Commander Okafor added. Hayes considered for a moment. Negative. Allow them to retreat. I want survivors to report what happened here. Within minutes, the brief, one-sided engagement was over. Where once an impressive Voidborn fleet had waited in ambush, now only debris and a handful of disabled vessels remained. Escape pods drifted among the wreckage, survivors who would carry the tale of this encounter back to their homeworld. Casualties? Hayes asked, bracing herself for the answer. Minimal, Captain, Okafor replied with disbelief in her voice. The Dauntless and the Agamemnon reporting minor damage. 7 wounded across the fleet. No fatalities. The bridge fell silent as the crew absorbed this information. They had just decimated a technologically superior enemy force without losing a single human life. Captain, Chen interrupted the moment of reflection. We're picking up a transmission from one of the disabled Voidborn vessels. It appears to be their command ship. Ave straightened in her chair. On screen, the image that appeared showed the interior of a Voidborn bridge, much more organic in design than its human counterpart. Amid the chaos of damaged systems and wounded crew stood a Voidborn officer, taller and more imposing than Ambassador Xorix, with skin that shimmered a deep blue. I am Fleet Commander Zorl of the Voidborn Conclave, the alien announced, voice resonating with authority despite their defeat. I formally surrender my vessel and remaining forces to you, Captain Hayes. Hayes nodded acknowledgement. Your surrender is accepted, Commander. Prepare to be boarded. After the transmission ended, Admiral Thornton contacted the Defiant. The Admiral's weathered face showed a mixture of satisfaction and concern. Well done, Captain. The quantum cascade performed beyond our expectations, but this victory raises serious questions about our place in the galactic community. Indeed, Admiral, Hayes agreed. The Voidborn won't be the only species who see us as a threat. Today's victory sends a message, but it also makes us a target. Then we'd better be ready, Thornton replied grimly. Secure the prisoners and prepare for debriefing. Earth needs to know what we're facing out here. In the hours that followed, human boarding parties secured the disabled Voidborn vessels, taking prisoners and gathering intelligence. In a secured conference room aboard the Defiant, Captain Hayes personally interrogated Fleet Commander Zorl, seeking to understand the deeper motivations behind the attempted ambush. Your technology, Zorl explained reluctantly, it advances at an alarming rate. Most species take millennia to progress from planetary flight to interstellar travel. Humans accomplished it in less than 3 centuries. Evolution on Earth was competitive, Hayes replied simply. Adapt or die. It's in our DNA. Zorl's multifaceted eyes studied her with newfound respect. The Conclave feared what humans might become in a century or two. They believed preemptive action was necessary. And now, the commander's skin rippled with a color Hayes couldn't interpret. I believe the Conclave will need to reassess their strategy. Your quantum cascade technology, it should not be possible for your species to have developed such a thing. Hayes allowed herself a small smile. We get that a lot. As the Fifth Fleet prepared to return to Earth with their prisoners and new intelligence, Captain Hayes stood at the observation deck of the Defiant, gazing out at the stars. Humanity had just announced its presence on the galactic stage in the most dramatic way possible, by obliterating an ambush force from a supposedly superior civilization. The message would spread quickly through the nearby star systems. Humans were not to be trifled with. They would not be contained, controlled, or eliminated. They were here to stay. Lieutenant Chen joined her at the viewport, his expression thoughtful. Do you think they'll try again, Captain? The Voidborn, I mean. Hayes considered the question carefully. Perhaps, but next time they won't underestimate us. And we'll be ready, Chen added with quiet confidence. Yes, Hayes agreed, turning her gaze back to the endless expanse of stars, each one a potential new challenge, a new discovery, or a new enemy. We always are. As the Defiant engaged its drive and prepared to lead the fleet home, Hayes couldn't help but reflect on the timeless truth that had just been demonstrated once again. Throughout human history, those who set traps for humanity often discovered, too late, that they had merely awakened a sleeping giant. And today, that giant had taken its first true steps into the stars.